And Claire said to me when we talked about the Jacob's coat technique, good morning, Anita. She said it reminded her of the Joseph and his Technicolor Dream Coat. And I said, well, that's exactly it. That's the technique. So that's what we're going to make today. This background here, it's fun. It's a lot of fun to make. A lot of sponging. Quite messy hands, I think I'll get by the end of this. They're not too bad because I just used the finger daubers. So I hope you're all keeping well, and looking forward to learning how to do this technique. It's not something I've done before, but I loved this card, and I saw it. This is actually cased from a fellow demonstrator, and I gave her a message and said, would she mind using it? Would she mind if I used it during our Facebook Live on Tuesday morning? Because I thought it was absolutely stunning. It is stunning, isn't it, Anita? You can do this with a lot of colours, but actually this really resonated with me. Loved the colours that she'd done. And it looks a bit dark on your page on the computer screen there, but it's quite light. It's quite a light colour. So what we've got is a piece of Whisper White card measuring 9.5 by 13.5. I've got three ink pads altogether, but the two we're starting with is Granny Apple Green and Pretty Peacock. So those are the two main ones that we're going to be using for our background. And the finger daubers. So I was mentioning I love these finger daubers. You just slip them on the end of your finger and you can pick up the ink and work with it. Oh, they Mo's colours. You like a bit of green, do you, Mo? And you can work with it quite easily. So what you want to do is dab off on the side of the page here and take away some of that ink, because then you'll get a nice soft effect on your card. If you go straight onto your card, this is what you will see. That's exactly what you'll get, that really harsh effect, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a nice, subtle, soft. And I don't want this too dark, and it will make sense in a minute why we don't want it too dark. But I'm just going to keep working away at this Granny Apple Green in a few different areas and leaving the white spots there because we're going to go in with a different colour. And you can do this background with as many colours as you want. We might go wild in a little while and do, if we get time to do another one, we might go wild and do some more colours, some crazy colours. The daubers are on your wish list once the last bit of furniture is bought for the craft room. They're really good, Anne-Marie. I get on really well with them. Stampin' Up do a couple of different types of sponges, and they do a sponge brayer, which is really good as well. I must admit, we ought to do a lesson on that. I used one yesterday on Sunday with a crafty challenge. We used our brayers for that, and it was fabulous. Loved it. Really soft, subtle effect. And they do the normal sponges as well, big round things, but I don't get on as well with those. Maybe I need a class on those. So I've just picked the sections that I want to work with that Granny Apple Green. Morning, Liz, how are you? Long time no see. Seen Liz this morning already on a Zoom call that I was on. I say I literally haven't stopped this morning. And this is Pretty Peacock, and this is the one that you really don't want too dark. So you're just going to pick some of that ink up, get rid of quite a lot of it really, and then just work that into the space. And it will look a bit of a mess to begin with. That's absolutely fine. It will look a little bit of a mess to begin with, but it will all come clear in a while. So who's heard of the Jacob's coat technique then? Let me know if you have, and let me know if you haven't. I'd be intrigued to see who this is new for. It does make a little bit of a mess of your grid paper, but that's what it's there for. This grid paper, if anyone wonders, is available in the catalogue, so you can protect your workspace and have something to stamp with. You know, I do a lot of my stamping off on here. This is fabulous. I think you get 100 sheets for £11.25, and you can reuse them. They're actually works of art on their own when finished, so if you do want something to protect your work surface, I highly recommend these. So I'm not going too dark. I'm cautious that I don't want to go in too dark on this. And that there really is the background. Never heard of it. No, I've only seen it a couple of times. It was Sarah, my friend, a demo. She reminded me of it a couple of months ago now. How time flies. One of the really important things with this technique though is we've just created this background. Now we're going to use embossing powder with it. What we don't want to do is put the embossing powder straight on here, because this is going to be still wet. Even though it's not wet, it's still going to be damp from the ink, and that will just make the embossing powder stick everywhere. This is the Jacob's coat technique, Liz, to create this background here with the colours shining through, like Joseph in his Technicolor Dreamcoat. That's the one we're going to be working, the technique that we're doing today. So what you need to do is leave that to dry. And so here is one that I duly created earlier. So this one should be dry. This was made about half an hour ago. It should be plenty dry. Probably doesn't even need to take that long. We're still going to use our Seen Better Days embossing buddy. It's a gorgeous card, isn't it, Liz? It was cased from somebody, and the name has escaped me. I should have written it down. Fellow demonstrator. I've tweaked it a little bit, but I saw it and loved it, so I asked her permission if we could do that on our Facebook Live this morning, and she said absolutely, with pleasure, as is often the case. Fellow demonstrators are so friendly and helpful, so I thought that would be something fun to do today. So I'm just going to use my embossing buddy all over this, and we're going to work with embossing powder. So we need, as always, a scrap of paper, spare sheet of paper. This is how I do my embossing powder. Other people work differently, but I always work onto a scrap piece of paper. And we're going to be using this amazing stamp set today, the Forever Fern. Love, love, love. This is probably my most used stamp set. And Kind and Sharing, absolutely, Liz, really are. If ever you're out of something or struggling with something, there is always a network of people to help you out, and that's one of the things I love about being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. You're not on your own ever, be that in Stampin' Up! Or in other areas of your life. There's always somebody there to help, to be there and to support you. So this is the Forever Fern stamp set, and I'm going to use 3 of the stamps out of it today. This gorgeous one, that one, this one, and this one. Now this is a distinctive stamp set, I believe. Your crafting, it is exactly the crafting family, it really is. Yeah, I didn't really have a social network at all until I found Stampin' Up! I'd come out of the Navy. I was caring for my mum, who sadly passed away, so I didn't know anybody, and yeah, Stampin' Up! Literally has changed my whole world, and I've now got a really, really good group of friends, both demonstrators and class attendees, and I don't even, you're all my friends. I don't look at it like that in any other way, so yeah, it's really, really changed my world, of which they say, oh, hey, how sweet is that, of which I am part. Thank you, Liz. I remember when we met out in Germany and I bombarded you all and came for dinner with you all. It was really, really lovely of you. I was a bit of a loose end for the evening, and in Germany on a Stampin' Up! On Stage event, and a very, very kind and lovely group of 6 of you, I think there were, got out on a team meal and invited me along. I had a whale of a time getting to know you all, and it's led to really good things. So what I'm going to do is use some Versamark. So we've let it dry, because this is one that I'm using from before. I've used my embossing buddy on it, and now we're going to stamp. But because we're stamping in Versamark, it's a clear sticky ink. Okay, we're not going to be able to see very easily what it is that we are stamping. So we're going to take it a little bit at a time, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to use the Versamark ink, and I'm going to ink up my stamp, and then I'm going to stamp in the corner. Be careful where you're touching your card after you've embossed it. I've used your embossing buddy on it, because what will happen, the oils in your fingers will stick onto the card, and that will then mean that the powder then sticks onto the oils that you've left on your fingers. So I normally just try and touch it as little as possible. So take that one away, and I'm going to go straight in, because I can remember, this is going to test my memory, where I've stamped. I can't see where I've stamped very easily at all, so I'm going to have to remember. Okay, So I'm going to go in with the second stamp. And by this point, my memory's gone. I've just come off nights, like I say, so I can't really remember an awful lot. So what I'm going to do is, no problem, I'm just going to tip over the powder. This is the clear embossing powder. Okay, it is clear, isn't it? Yeah, clear embossing powder. You need to remember to use the right one. And I don't know if you can see that, but I can now see that embossing powder. Can you see that? So that's going to help us to do the next stamps, and we're just going to keep working like that. If you've got good eyesight or the sun is out, you might be able to see where you've stamped, in which case brilliant, but if you can't, this is the way around it. Okay, just do one stamp at a time and keep sprinkling that powder on. So we'll grab this one, go back in with our Versamark. Good morning, Jan. How are you this morning? I hope you are well. And again, I'm going to go back in with another one because I can see that one that I've created. And it doesn't really matter if you overlap them, but we're trying, the aim is to get the stamps separate. So let's go there with that one. And again, touching that page the minimum amount possible. Tip over some more powder. And again, you can see where you've stamped there. So I have overlapped ever so slightly up there, but I'm really not too fussed about it. Because in the grand scheme of things, you're not going to notice. We're covering little bits up with paper and all sorts anyway. So let's grab this stamp. And go there. And this one. And come here. It was a great evening, Liz, and the most amazing burger. Ugh, burger and cocktails. What more could you want in life? It was amazing. So let's go back in with this one. So what's everybody up to today then? I should be finishing up here. I might do a little bit of work and then head to bed. I hate going to bed after I've been on the night shift on a nice day like today. I do wish for a kind of dull, drizzly weather when I've been on my nights, because I don't mind going to bed in the afternoon if it's a bit dull and drizzly. But I struggle if it's nice. So it's a bit fussy, this whole thing, but it is totally worth it. Totally worth it. We're just going to keep going in. I want this one here. And then I'm going to go back in, and I think this is going to be the last one. One there. And maybe a little bit coming off the page there, if you can see that. So that has got all of our stamping and all of our clear embossing powder on it. And now what we're going to do is emboss that with our heat gun. So the most common question with heat embossing is, can we use a hairdryer? And the answer is no, not really. You probably won't get good results with it, because what you need is low power, high heat, because you don't want to blow that powder off the page. You also don't want to, you also need it hot enough to burn it. So this is a really sticky ink, so it should still be good to go, but I'm going to get on and heat emboss it before the ink dries and the powder blows off. So bear with me 2 seconds. Morning Claire, how are you? Normally I let you watch the heat embossing, but you can't even see what's going on really. Oh, you're making a birthday card for a friend? Bit of crafting, obviously. So that's all our heat embossing done. You're not late, well you are late, Claire, but honestly, no problem. Oh, why are you stressed? Is that because of your dad? I hope he is coming well, bless him. So that's all the heat embossing that you can see there. If you can see it, I'll just try and get it in the light for you. It looks fabulous. Oh, colourful cocktails. Very nice. There's a stamp set in the catalogue with cocktails. I was watching Emma Goddard the other night making them. I thought, oh, do you know what? I haven't got that set yet, but it might be going in my basket soon. Just might have missed a little bit, so let me just... Let me just do that. Oh, a bit of gardening. I probably ought to. Our gardens are really overgrown. Oh, bless you, Claire. He is in the best place, though, in the hospital. He really is. And they will be able to sort him out. I was actually researching fatty liver the other day, once you mentioned it, because I didn't really know much about it. And hopefully it will be not curable, but treatable with diet and exercise and everything. Oh, at least 2 or 3 more days, bless you. It's a worry as well, isn't it, not being able to be there. So this is shaded spruce. This is the colour that we're going to use to layer over the top of our page here. So what we've done is we've sponged Granny Apple Green and Pretty Peacock. We've then heat embossed the Forever Fern stamps in clear embossing powder, and we've got shaded spruce ink now with another dauber, and we are going to go all the way over the top. And you think, oh my gosh, we're ruining our nice work. We're not, we're making it better. That's what we're doing. Putting a card on craft page. Fantastic. On your Butterfly Wishes craft page. Getting rid of your craft fair as well. That's brilliant news that they're starting up again, isn't it? Hopefully socially distanced and responsible. But yeah, I've heard of quite a few. I'm supposed to be doing one in October, which is always a fabulous one for me. It's actually I only do one these days. I used to do quite a lot, and I probably ought to do more again, but I definitely do these ones. Love them. Miss seeing everybody in March because I was on holiday in Japan when the whole coronavirus outbreak kicked off. So yeah, some people say we were right in the middle of it. It didn't feel too bad, honestly. Japan just kind of locked down. It was sad because we couldn't go to the places that we wanted to go and visit, which was sad, but it was necessary, I think. Fascinating to see how another country was preparing for lockdown before we did. Interesting, yeah. Can't believe we've got 2 now. I know, 2 fairs coming up. That Port Solent one will be good as well. Claire's got one in a big marina, which is fabulous. They're always really good. Look how this is coming on already. Oh, no worries, Liz. Take care. It was really, really nice having you. Thank you for joining us. Look after yourself and have a lovely day. You made one last year for Happy Post, Anita. Oh, lovely. I made my first Christmas card. Did you see on my page the other day? Well, yesterday I posted, so not my first Christmas card, but my first Christmas card that I was really, really happy with that actually is going to turn into a Christmas card. It's a bit of a special card. Loved making it, and actually really pleased with the finished result, which trust me is not always the case. It's funny when people used to say at the craft group when we used to meet, oh, your cards are always so nice. Well, yeah, you don't see the ones that go in the bin though, or the ones that just sit there and are festering, which I'm going to end up giving to a nursery, I think, or a school. I've been in contact with somebody in Denmead, and they've said they would love them for the kids to either give out or butcher, for want of a better word. And you can go as dark or as light with this as you want. I tell you what we could do. I've got an idea. I have a plan for what we're going to do next. So we are going to make 2 cards. And you just keep going over. Like I say, you can do it as light or as dark as you want, and those colours come through underneath. Can you see now why we didn't want to have it too dark as the base? You want quite light layers as the base. because otherwise you won't get that contrast. And you just keep picking up that ink and laying that all down. And that's that really. That is the basis of the Joseph's Coat technique. So I'm going to grab a tissue. I don't think I've got one to hand, apart from the dirty one that's in my pocket that I probably shouldn't use on cards. You like those, Mo? That's what Anita said. These were your colours. They are gorgeous. Granny apple green, shaded spruce, and pretty peacock. That pretty peacock is beautiful, isn't it? And then what you do is you just rub over your piece of. Can you see the ink coming off there? And that's coming off the embossed areas. So you can't really notice that much of a difference. But up here, for example, when I wipe that away, it's just leaving a nice clean finish. And making those colours really shine through. So let's get rid of that. And that there is the base to our card. So what I did was I matted that straight onto a piece of gold foil with my Tombow glue. Or you can use Fast Fuse or the new one, Snail Plus. The new... what do you call them? Liner tape, not liner tape. Tape runner. The new tape runners from Stampin' Up are fabulous. So you can use one of those, but I must admit, I use my wet glue most of the time. And we'll just lay that on there. Glue onto foil does take a little bit longer to dry. So just make sure you have a little bit of patience. Not my strong suit. And do be careful, you've got inky fingers when you're going to work on the rest of your projects. Just make sure that's not going to rub off, because as I say, it's a little bit inky when you're working with it. That's then going to go onto a piece of shaded spruce card, from which I've made my card base, and that's going to match the ink there that we've put down. So I'm going to have a few of these to send out to people. So I need to do another mail shot, I think. We've got the Christmas catalogues being delivered this week. It's been on my to-do list for such a long time now. Anita, thank you. I got your email, so that one will be coming to you. Absolutely. I nearly dropped one off this morning. I was in Denmead, and I didn't have time in the end, so I had to run. But that hopefully will be getting done on Thursday. I'll be doing a mail run. So what we're going to work with next, that we haven't finished, we're just going to work with some designer series paper and some gold foil. These are in the catalogue and you may have overlooked them. These are fabulous. Pre-cut foil designer series paper that literally just pops out. Look at that fern. You get a lot of sheets as well. You get 3 of each, I think. So you get 6 sheets. Look at all those designs on there. I mean, this is going to last me all year. But these are fabulous. And so you get 3 of those. And you get 3 of these as well, I believe. Which I've used on quite a lot of projects. Because they make a really quick and easy card base. So we're going to work with those. I've popped one out already. I'm just typing something. Sorry, 2 seconds. And then we've got this one. This is the one we're going to use on this card, but I'm going to mix it up a little bit and change it. And then we've got the designer series paper. Again, gorgeous, gorgeous papers. And I thought that one actually went quite well, surprisingly, because it's garden green, and it's not really a colour I've used in here. But let's have a look what else we've got. We've got this one. That works quite nicely as well because that's got some shaded spruce in it. So I might go for that one this time, mix it up a little bit. Oh, this one might work. So many lovely papers. So should we try one of those and one of those? Because I'm going to make this twice. Probably not live for you now, but I'll cut a little strip of each of them. So we're going to cut a strip of paper and it's going to measure 2 centimetres. I'm going to cut a whole strip there of 2 centimetres. Stunning, isn't it, Anita? It's really, really lovely paper. And I'm going to see which I like best. And what we're going to do is use all of our, call it wastage, but it's not wastage because we're not wasting it. Round the edge of these, you have got this piece of gold, and we're going to use that tiny strip. So if I can find another one, here we go. On the back here, we're going to use some of this strip, so it does not waste. And we're going to cut a little piece off down here. And we want to do that at 14 centimetres. So what I do is I cut it longer and then we can trim it down to size. There we go. So that's what we want to work with. Put the trimmer out of the way. I'm actually going to go for this one. That picks out the granny apple green of the background there and the shaded spruce from the front. So we want to cut that at 13.5 centimetres, which is the same as the Whisper White card that we were working on there. And we want to cut this to 13.5 centimetres as well. Just about there. Trim that off. And then we'll stick those down with multi-purpose glue. Oh. I've been getting a bit lax recently with my glue and leaving the lid off, and that's the only time this glue ever dries up in the nib. If you don't leave the lid off, it will never, I'll say never, it will nearly never, it will nearly never dry up. And then what I'm going to do is just run a very thin strip of this glue. I love how precise I can be with the Tombow, and just run a really, really thin strip all the way down there. And then stick that there. And so I said we were going to use this this offcut here. Now what I don't want to do is stick it all the way over, because I don't want to cover up our nice background. So what I'm doing is just cutting on a diagonal between there and there, and that's going to give us like a spray coming out behind the circles that we're going to cut with the stitched shapes dies. These are my go-to. I'm going to show you them. These are my go-to dies for basic shapes, and you get 12 dies in a pack. I think they're still £28, but this is old, so around about £28. But you get 4 circles, 4 squares and 4 ovals, all with this amazing stitched design. Love, love, love these, and literally these are my go-to dies there for any kind of basic shape that I need. The gold is gorgeous, isn't it, Anita? Yeah, I do love that foil paper, and like I say, it's going to last a long time because you're only using a little bit at a time. So what I've got is a scrap of shaded spruce and a scrap of Whisper White, and I'm going to cut one circle out of each colour. I'm going to be back shortly. I'm just going over here. So I'm cutting two out exactly the same size. Because again, I didn't want to take up too much of the page, but I did want it to have a background. So I'm going to show you in a minute how I achieved that. So we've got one here, Whisper White, and one here, Shaded Spruce, the same size, because we're going to overlay those. And I'm going to use a stamp from the stamp set, the Forever Fern again, and it says, "To a friend that makes me smile." And this is such a lovely sentiment to give to a friend that makes you smile, and don't all our friends make us smile? So a really, really nice card to give for any occasion. And I'm going to stamp that in Shaded Spruce. Hello Jay, how are you doing? Again, long time no see. I saw Jay this morning as well on a Zoom call. It's been all go this morning. And I'm going to stamp that, not centrally, I'm going to stamp that as far over to the left hand side as I can get away with. There we go. And then what I'm going to do, make sure I don't smudge that ink, I'm just going to lay that over and offset it ever so slightly. Can you see that there? So it just gives a little bit of interest. Your circles don't necessarily have to overlap the standard way with one bigger than the other. You can take two the same size and just offset it. And you can do as much or as little as you want. And then what I'm going to do is cut that as straight as I can, but giving myself a straight edge just on the one side. And I am just doing it by eye. So I'm just going to cut that off. And then what we're going to do is put a little bit of Tombow glue on the back of this section and then stick that onto the back of our circles here. Again, onto foil. It does just take a little bit longer to dry. I think we'll be able to meet for an actual craft morning on the 31st? I'm waiting to hear back. I need to ring the community centre today. That's the date that I've proposed. They're actually saying the community centre is getting back to normal. They said it feels if all the groups are restarting. And so yeah, I'm thinking that's what we can do. Personally, I need to still do a risk assessment, but I'm confident I can get 10 people in the hall. The only problem is that because we're limited to 10, I'm looking at doing a longer day, Mo, basically. So we're going to stick that on there, maybe a 5-hour day for a slightly increased cost, which will mean that the hall is not eating up all of the class cost, and it will be a project group only, so it won't be a class as such, but people will take their own projects to work on. I'll have ink pads and stamp sets. We'll be able to wipe everything down. Everybody will be at a 2-metre distance. Yeah, I've got a plan in my head which I think is workable. There'll be a pile for used stuff and unused stuff, and before it goes on the unused stuff, I will clean everything down as we go. So yeah, I have a plan. That is it for the time being. So I'm going to use some of the twine. Where have I put it? Here, and I'm just going to wrap some round my fingers a little bit. don't want too much because I haven't got much left and it's really lovely. I don't want to run out of it. I'm just going to try and make those 2 different sizes almost. Try and do it on camera so you can see what I'm doing. It's so hard sometimes to work with this stuff, especially when the ends fray like this one. It makes a lovely wreath, lovely tassel. With the ends fray so much, look, it's gorgeous, but it is a little tricky to work with. So I wanted 2 different sizes. I'm going to use a glue dot. So I've just stuck that onto a glue dot there. And pop that there, and then I can trim off these tassely frayed ends if I can get my scissors under there. Yeah, I don't want to take the classes back on in person yet because I know not everybody is ready to go back to in-person events, and that's absolutely fine. What I don't want to do is miss anybody out. So say like we're taking the classes back and sorry you can't come. So I thought we'll keep the classes online for the time being. Until kind of most people are happy. So what I'm going to do is just stick that over the edge there, and you've just got that little bit of twine coming out from underneath. But I know some people are really, I say keen. It's almost your mental health being stuck inside. It's a toss up between mental health versus physical health. I know we've got a guy at work who was furloughed, and he has come back to work because his mental health was suffering too much being at home. He said it was actually better off coming into work than he was staying off. Where's the sample card, I wonder? What have I done with that? Only because I really struggle with gem placement. So I want to see where I put my gems in the original card. Sometimes it takes me a long time to figure out where to put these little blighters. But these are gorgeous as well, these gems. Love them. You like that, Mo? Thank you. Yep, I like that one too. I was going to make a second card with you, but my battery's just popped up saying 20% battery. So I might have to come back on and show you a different one, or show you one I do later on. So I'm going to take a little piece of Whisper White card to pop on the inside. I do like to do the insides of the cards to match the outside. So I'm just going to take some shaded spruce and some Granny Apple Green ink, one of my stamps rather. Which one should we go with? Go with this one. Going to stamp off. I always tend to stamp off on the inside, and then we will go straight in. I should clean this, but I don't know where my... Oh, there it is. My chamois. I was going to be naughty for a minute. Then we'll go with the shaded spruce, stamp that off, and have that coming up over the top there. And again, you could put a greeting on the inside or anything. Yes, I know. I really should, Anita. I'm too lazy. I've got my Take Your Pick tool. I love this. I don't use a pokey tool as such, but this has got like a tacky end on. So all you need to do is swipe that, and your gem is here, and then you can pop that on, and you just push it down, and it stays there down. I love this tool. And then you get a pokey tool on the other end. You get a spatula for lifting up things, and then you get a ballpoint pen as well, 2 ends, 2 sizes for scoring. But yeah, with this you just pop it onto the gem, swipe it, that's picked the gem up, and then you can pop the gem down wherever you want. But I'm too lazy to get it out. It's only here as well. It's not like it's far away or I've got to do an awful lot of work to get it out. But and then you just squeeze it. If you need more putty out, you just rotate this round and squeeze it, and a little bit more putty comes out. And then you can get refills for it as well. Good morning, Jill. Lovely to see you. So I'm just going to pop some Tombow on the back of that one. So I might have time to show you the technique again with a stamp set that I was thinking of using. And that's our finished card. To a friend that makes me smile. So that's going to be going in the post to somebody. And that all from our background. Where's my background that we created earlier? From that to that. Stunning, huh? So, let's have a look. What else have we got? So what percentage is my battery? 17. Right, I'm going to quickly show you the technique again. I'm going to use a stamp set. I don't know whether this is going to work or not, but we will give it a go. We're going to use Zany Zebras, because these have not had an awful lot of an outing with me, and they should have, because I love them. We're going to do some bright colours: Melon Mambo, Bermuda Bay, Daffodil Delight, Gorgeous Grape. So we've got 4 colours. I haven't got long to show you this. Tried to sneak in without you noticing you were late. No, I'm sorry, Jill. I noticed. Bless you. It's nice to have you though. Thank you for joining us. Late or not late. So I've grabbed some really, really bright colours and grab my sponges again. Where are my Doras? Have you been busy, or did you just forget again? I tried to set up an event to try and make it a bit easier. I hope that did help. So what have I got? Melon Mambo, Bermuda Bay, Daffodil Delight, should be somewhere. Daffodil Delight, and Gorgeous Grape. So this is going to be a little bit rough and ready, but we're just going to splodge some ink down. I love this colour. This is probably my favourite colour. You know I love my purples. Daffodil Delight here. Although that looks a bit more like Mango Melody to me. I think I might have mixed my colours up. A little bit of Melon Mambo. You're probably getting all focused with me sticking my arms in the middle. Oh, again, I love this pink. Magenta Madness is lovely though, isn't it? So we're just squidging some colour over. Try and blend them into each other, I think. It makes it a smoother finish. It doesn't really matter if it's not perfect because of what we're going to do next. No problem at all. No problem at all, Jill. Life happens. Yep, so I'm going to put, this is gorgeous. Look at this colour. I hope this works. I hope it looks good. And we'll put a little bit more Daffodil Delight, I think, down there, and then finish up with a little bit of the Melon Mambo just in that corner. We may or may not see that in the finished. Again, we don't want it too dark, don't want the base too dark, but just dark enough, and we'll just smooth that off a little bit, blend that all in. Right, let's go with that. They're a bit out there, those colours, aren't they? So I'm going to have to dry this with a heat tool, because what you really want to do is leave that to dry. I'm just going to give it a quick blast with the heat tool to make sure that none of that ink is wet. That should be dry, and then we can go in with our embossing buddy. Give it a good pounce, get that powder out. Grab our piece of paper here, our stamp set, and I'm going to use this little jumping zebra, I think. I have no idea what this is going to tell. I love crafting on the hoof and seeing what it looks like, but could be a little bit of a disaster. So let's grab our Versamark. I might use all three actually, if I can. Let's put one there. And then I'm just going to do one at a time, because otherwise I won't have enough room for them. So what we did last time, stamp one, and then put the powder over, because then you can see where you've stamped. Okay, and you can see where to put the next one. So don't worry about taking your time. No, I am going to stick with this one, and it's going to be jumping all over the page. Got one. I go quiet when I'm concentrating. They are summery colours. I was making Christmas cards the other day, and Russ said to me, it is not Christmas. You're not allowed to make Christmas cards. This is all I said, oh. I know, it's the middle of summer, but he said he wants to see summery cards, not Christmas cards. So this one might make him happy. And then I've got room for one more little zebra, just down in this bottom corner. If I can locate that. I've been pressing ever so slightly too hard, so I've just got lines of embossing powder. So I'm just getting rid of those with my finger, where I've been pressing too hard with my stamp set. There we go, so there's all my little zebras. Let's get rid of this embossing powder. And we'll set the heat gun on that. So you've got to use using a clear embossing powder for this one, don't forget, not a white one, a clear one. So you can maybe see that, maybe not. That's our background, and we're going to take some Memento ink this time. I may need the refill, and we'll take one of our sponges. And we're going to go all the way over it with black. It seems sacrilege, doesn't it, to go over your nice summery background. But you could use any colour. Actually, I could have gone for a really deep purple. That would have looked quite nice. But I've started now, so I will finish. And zebras are black, so black's not a stupid colour to work with. Can you see what's happening? I love this technique, actually. I've done it a couple of times now. It's just fun, isn't it? So, this reminds me of one of those, oh, what were they when I was little and I had where the bright colours, like almost one of those scratch art paintings where it's all black and then you scratch into it and you get this beautiful coloured picture underneath. That's what it reminds me of. Nice technique, isn't it, Jill? So sometimes we can't heat emboss in the colours that we want to. I couldn't heat emboss in all those different multicolours, but what I could do is do this technique, and then you get those colours shining through underneath. Yeah, this is coming up really nicely, actually. I'm going to think of how to turn this into a card a bit later on today, I think. I'll show you the background and then I will make the card up and post it for you all to see. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they still do them, Anne-Marie. I've got a couple, actually. I picked a couple up before lockdown. I love the silver ones. I did one for my dad in silver, gosh, years ago, of the Colosseum in Rome. It is the Colosseum, isn't it? I think. And I went round several years later. I lost touch with them when I was younger, and when I went round, he had it on the wall, and I was really, really chuffed to bits with that. And he still has it on. He's moved to a new house and still has it on the wall, but it took me hours and hours and hours to do. It was a big A3 one, and you just keep going. You just keep going with this black. Could you stamp on white, heat emboss, and then use the coloured technique over the top? Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to use my brain. Could you stamp on white, heat emboss, then use the coloured technique over? Yes, and the white would shine through. Exactly. Stamp on the white, heat emboss it. So with the clear or with the white, either would do, onto white paper, and then use the coloured technique over the top, and then the white would shine through. Yep, absolutely, you could do that, Jill. Gosh, that stretched my brain a little bit. We used to use wax crayons to do the bases, you did, then cover with black wax. Exactly. Yeah, I remember. I didn't do it, but I remember that being like even old school, even older school than me, than me, Mo. Somebody said to me the other day, and I can't for the life of me remember where I was. Was I visiting Russ's family? And they said, in your day, I was like, oh, have I got to that age? Have I? In my day. Oh, I thought it was funny. But yes, I can imagine that wax, scraping off that wax would make an awful mess. So that is it. That is your background, ladies. You could just keep going and going and going and make it darker and darker and darker. But I've got to go. My battery is running low. I forgot to charge my phone up before I came on this morning. So again, what we do is take our tissue and we're just going to wipe that off, and that just makes those colours really, really pop because they've had black on, look. So that makes those colours really pop there. And that there is our finished background. And you could do that with all sorts of different stamps. So I'm going to make a nice little card out of that today, I think, and I will post the results later for you to see. The fingers are a bit messy, so sorry about that. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to be back on Friday. I'm going to be showing it's actually double layer stamping with a twist, or triple layer stamping with a twist. But this Snowflake Splendor, hopefully you may have your catalogues by the weekend as well, because I'm going to get those in the post. and hand deliver the rest of them that I can hand deliver. So if anybody is watching this and you don't have a demonstrator and you'd like to get a catalogue, please do get in touch. I would love to help you out. There's some fantastic products in it coming up, which I can't wait to show you. You're going to be on time on Friday, Jill. Bless you. I'm looking forward to seeing you. As I say, we're going to be using the Snowflake Splendour suite. Tempt you a little bit more. I'm going to triple layer stamping with a twist and maybe something else. Thank you very much for joining me. No problem, Mo. Thank you. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Anita. Look after yourselves. Have a lovely week. Turn that grid paper over because it's a disaster. That's better. Have a lovely week, and I will see you all again soon. Take care. Bye.